All right, here we go. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm changing the name to Dave Does because I'm going to be doing a lot of different things. Woodworking here, skydiving, scuba diving, the Sturgis trip, Lighthouse, two more Lighthouse builds, pardon me. We've got the submarine to do, so it's not only going to be in the shop. It's going to be out doing stuff. And then I'm going to take you truck driving with me. I'll wait till the summer for that. So the new name is called Dave Does. So audio in the last video sucked. So until I get the new media mod for the Hero 8, I'm going to have to talk loud so you guys can hear me, which is fine. Today's on part 7 is column time. Doing everything on the column, getting it ready. I'm starting to get into a little bit of a crunch. It's February 16th today. I've got to have the whole lighthouse, the Sambro lighthouse, completely finished in exactly 20 days. So I only normally work on it on weekends, Sunday, because I drive truck on Saturdays, but I'm going to start even working at night now after work to get this thing done. I've sourced a rotating beacon for it. It's coming from the Lighthouse man in the United States. So that is said to arrive on the 21st of Feb. So all next weekend we'll be doing nothing but fitting the light in here, building up the platform so it's the exact correct height, so it'll rotate nice. Finishing up the top because yeah, I thought I had that level. I don't. It's just a little off. That's just sanding. That's nothing to do. Put the base on, and then of course we've got the uprights to put in there to hold it all up, and then install the Lexan. So there's a fair bit to do. Yes, but it'll come. But today's project is going to be nothing but the column. All the windows are going to fill in all the little gaps today. All the final sanding on the column will be done. And if I can get that done today, I will be probably painting it flat white with the first coat anyway, just to get it in there. What the customer has asked for is on the, let me move my phone over, on the column, see that? Yep. Back just a bit. On the column here, what he's asked for is a hole so he can put the extension cord in. So we're going to source an RV cover that flips up. He's going to be able to coil all his electrical cord in there, and then it'll shut down. It'll be weatherproof and most importantly mouse proof. So that'll be good, so they can pull it out as they want. The light that's coming, it rotates. You can actually change the lenses for different colors. Comes with a replacement bulb, and you can either have it rotating or just on. Unfortunately, when it's on, it's only going to point in one direction like a flashlight. It's actually got a proper lens in it, so it actually sweeps around like a real lighthouse. So enough said, way too much talking. We're just going to get after it and get as much done on this as we possibly can, waiting for the actual rotating light to show up. So what I've got in front of me is all my sanding accoutrements. What we're going to do first, we're going to go around, we'll lay the column down, and the windows, since I used the hot glue to put it all in, so I didn't have to use clamps or just wait for the glue to set up. It's standing off the column just a little bit, which is okay. We'll just go around and fill it all in. I've got a small little tool here so we can not make quite so much of a mess. And then we'll go through, and with my homemade sanding sticks here, what we'll do is just go through and just clean everything up so it's really, really nice today. Any other little voids we find, we'll fill those in today to make sure that it all looks perfect once it's painted. Because paint is unforgiving, and you can see all your faults and all your little flaws once the paint's on. And 99% of the time, customer doesn't see that. 100% of the time, the builder does. So we don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and do as much as we can. So in the next shot here, it'll be column down. I'm going to go through window by window and slowly filling in all the little cracks to make sure we're good to go there. On to the next thing. So what we're going to do here, as you can see, just in here, there's just a little gap, and then see these little guys here, and just in here we'll have to clean all that up. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. You know what? I think my finger would be better. Let's go ahead and we'll smush that all in there like that. It's okay to make a bit of a mess all the way around. The stuff is new and there's all the oils and slimes are right up at the top. We'll just goop. All right, that's sort of how we do it. Now we're just going to go ahead and do that to all the windows, and I will come back when we're just about on the last one. What I'm picking at here is just a little bit of hot glue that just oozed out a little bit. We don't want that in because hot glue does not paint. Paint does not stick to it. So we'll have to sand that out. All right. So what you're looking at here is the back side of the little shack. Of course, the column's on its side. And this is the roof, and here's the face. So let me turn that a little bit. So what I did, you see that still? Yeah, there we go. I had to bump out the side just a little bit because in the real Sambro Lighthouse, concrete, wood. What I didn't do was put a little piece of wood here to bump this out so it looks like a continuous support all the way around, or a frame all the way around, so the house stands proud of it. So I got to cut this piece out, stick that on there, and then we'll shape it all down. So that's next. So the piece I need is 6.5 by 6 3/8. So we'll just find a little piece of wood and we'll cut that out on the saw. Okay, I had to go back and forth a few times. There's a little gap here, but that's okay. We'll just sand that down and make it all look nice. It's I might have to do a little bit of sanding here. It doesn't sit quite flush here, but I can fix that. Also, when I built it up, there's a bit of a gap here. So we'll just go ahead and do that. I'll do that off camera. Let's flip that over just a second, just to make sure. No, that's the way. All right. Perfect, on to the next. So we just have to sand this down a little more, make sure it's nice and flush. Test piece there. Not bad. Not bad at all. lot of sanding to do coming up. A lot of sanding. That's nice and flat. That's good. We got that cleaned up. All right, we'll get the glue ready, and I'm not sure if we're going to clamp that or just a little dab of hot glue or what, but we'll figure that out in a moment. So at this point now, I think the quickest way to do it would is glue the heck out of it and put brads in. That'll hold it in. That'll hold it in really nice. We'll goop it all in there, and then we'll swish it around. Get really good coverage. So it never ever comes off. Edges, don't forget your edges. Somebody just messaged me. Hey, by the way, while we're just sitting here doing this, if anybody's watching this stuff, I'm obviously new to YouTube. So what I want to do is I want to increase content and how everything goes. So if you guys have any comments on how I can do things better, or maybe make things a little bit more interesting, that's fine. I accept all criticisms, which will do nothing but improve me. So that's what I want to do. Okay, brads. Nice and tight. There we go. That'll hold it in there. Quite nice. Couple little gaps to fill, nothing big. Okay. So let me go around here and get my filler. And we'll get that. Get these holes filled right away, so when it comes down time to sand everything, we can do everything at once. The Lighthouse is going to be powered, like I said before, like I told you earlier. And I think I mentioned earlier that I put the base on too soon. So what I might have to do, if I can't get enough access through the hole I've got to cut in the side for the electrical cord storage, I will cut a hole in the bottom so I can gain access to that. And then we'll put a secondary cover on that. So it's level and it hides everything in there nicely, but I might have to do that so I can gain access and secure all the wiring inside. Okay, we'll let things dry up and then we'll be back to you. So on to the next thing. Okay, the joint compound has dried good enough to be able to sand it now. I'll speed this up because this is going to be boring. Watch if you want. I've got to get it done. So here we go. I'm going to start with all the big stuff with the power sander. So I got my respirator on. I'll go through watch the noise. I'll watch I'll hit every side, and then I'll come back with all of the small hand tools and I'll get that done. So here we go. First, I've got to change glasses. So these are expensive glasses. I got my shot glasses over there. And with my shot glasses, these are very old. They're an old prescription, no big deal. Still, everything works. And these glasses fit better with the respirator and my hearing protection, which I like to listen to music. Here we go. So there we go. That's all the big stuff done. Now I've just got to get down to the smaller stuff, which I have to do with the hand tools. I'll bring you in close as I do this one here. And then all the rest are just the same. So we'll just set that up right now. So you can see this line right here. It looks worse than it is. For some reason on the GoPro, all the darker lines here, all the grains are really accentuated. They're not quite that dark. Anyway, so here we go. This is how I do this. So we start and we just go back and forth nice and slow. We just square it all up. And this is the point where we can adjust the window, because it might not be totally square for me. And here's the spot where we get to make it square and plumb. You see a little bit of glop in there. I got my little tool. Just reach in there and poke that out. Because we want it to be the best we can for the client. We just want this parallel to that and this parallel to that. And as you can see, this piece here is just a bit big, so we'll cut that down a bit. I'll get my straight edge and my combination. I should have had this ready, sorry. So all we really want to do is make sure it's pretty much square to the line. It's not bad. I think because of these lines are off, it looks much worse than it is. No, it's not bad. It's pretty darn good. So there we go. So now there all is to do is all of them. I'm not going to show you all of them. I'll just jump ahead and then I'll come back when it's time to get into all the other little tight places. So we'll see you in a bit. All right, here we go. All these little spots in here have to be done, and they're a pain to get at. I should have been a little bit more careful with it, but I've got these pieces here, so let's get to it. I'll sand away. Want it nice and smooth. This is the part here that the oh, my lens is dirty. Pardon me. That the fixture is going to go on for the where the cords are going to come in and out. So it'll be just higher than this. It'll be in this area right here, and then the cord will go in. It's all hollow in there. So we no, it's not. I've got a full column in there, don't I? So I am going to have to cut the bottom out to be able to fish the line through. But that's okay. We can, I've still got lots of plywood left. Anyway, on to sanding. Corners have to be as good as we can get them, because that's where people seem to focus. like I said, this is going to be the back side, the non-viewing side, hopefully. Since it's going to have that ugly bump out in it here for the, not bump out, but the electrical cable hatch, as I was researching it. It's called a electrical cable hatch. It's not a door, it's a hatch. And it opens up, and it's got a little U-shaped opening in it that the cord can come out, and then the actual plate, which is about, I don't know, about 3 or 4 inches wide, can actually close, and that'll keep any moisture and rodents out of it. We do not want rodents in there. If they get into the main structure, they'll eat wiring and stuff, and then this has got to come back to me, and I got to take it all apart, and it's a pain. I've never had to do that yet, but I've never had a mouse in a lighthouse. Of all the lighthouses I've built, and I've built a few, no, I've never had one in there, which is good. The kaleidoscope light, which I will put in I've mentioned it like 7 times. I've never shown you guys my kaleidoscope lighthouse. I will put in the kaleidoscope lighthouse right now. So finally, as promised, here's my kaleidoscope lighthouse. You can see it all nicely flashes. I'll turn the light off in here. There we go. And this is what it does. So underneath, there's the lights I've got flashing. When it's really dark, they really illuminate the column. You can see in the door, it flashes. I've got the overhead light. Cat's bothering me. Cat. Lights all the way around. Windows all the way around. And this guy's for sale, actually. It used to sit out in front of our 5th wheel when we were camping. There we go. My kaleidoscope lighthouse. So there it is. It looks pretty cool. It still works well. It all lights up. Oh, my light went out. Excuse me, I'm gonna turn that plug the light back in. There we go, that light's on the garage door, and as long as there's movement in here, that light stays on, but as soon as there's no movement, or I'm just sitting around sanding ad nauseum, it goes out. So I've now plugged it into permanent power, so the garage light can do everything what the garage light wants. I'm gonna have to flip this up to get in there. No big deal. We're just gonna slowly spin this and get in all the edges here. Drywall sponge with coarseness. It seems to work real nice to get into all those little corners to get them all smooth. So it looks good for paint. If it's good enough for a drywall for paint, I'm sure it's going to be good enough for an outdoor lighthouse. Tell you, as far as plywood goes, I thought I picked a really good piece. It took me, myself and one of those representatives at the depot, a while to fish through all of this stuff, this 1/4-inch plywood. I thought I had the good stuff, but man, oh man, oh man, there's a little bit of voids in it that have to be filled, and that's a good chunk there. We'll just take my little tool here. See how hard that stuff gets? It gets almost like concrete. It's fantastic. Oh, I want to put a hole in the wood here. we will do, it's just a little rough, and it's end grain, plywood end grain. So I like to fill it. We're going to sand most of this off anyway, but it seems to close the pores a little bit. And then, even though this is going to be under literally 4 coats of exterior paint that has never failed me. I use the bare exterior acrylic, and it seems to work. It doesn't seem to work. It does work. It works really, really good. I've used it on all the lighthouses. The Port Alconey lighthouse that I gotta get a hold of him. I think his name was Greg from Black Falls. I want to see how that big brute is doing. Like this one here, when it's done, is going to be 5.5 feet tall. In the box, it's going to be transported and it's going to be 6 feet. But the other one was oh shoot. Well, I'm 5'10", and it was taller than I was, so it's got the lighthouse itself had to be 6 something. Just I forget exactly what the dimensions were. Just over 6 feet, and the box we had to build for it was closer to 7. The guy showed up to pick it up in a 1-ton Dodge dually, and he couldn't put the tailgate up. We had to tie it in, and I had to make a coffin. It looked like a coffin. Make a coffin for it, and then we had to wrap it all up in a moving blanket. And him, his buddy, and I, we put it in the back of the truck ever so gingerly. And he sent me a few pictures of it working in his backyard, and very, very happy with it. Of course, this one doesn't light up at all. The windows don't light up, which I could. It's easily enough to do. They don't. The Port Alconey one didn't have any lights in it at all. Pardon me, dust. It was just a complete tapered circular, and it was tapered. And I had to build this gigantic lathe to do that. It was all made out of 2x6s that were all shaved down and made into round 4-inch wide 2x6s tapered. A gigantic lathe. I'll show you the lathe. And slowly did it all with the router, and then built the top, and then at the bottom of it, I put in a little extra added piece in the base. I cut a piece out, and I put in. It was lit, and it said Port Alconey Lighthouse in there, and that's sort of neat. So if you look carefully I'll show a picture of it now. You can see that it all lit up, and it was big. It was really, really big. Anyway, that's enough for this little video here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I'm going to have a cup of tea and think about what I'm doing next, and then we'll get right back to you. Anyway, there we go. It's a GoPro Hero 8 controlled by the phone. So now and then I look up to make sure that we're still in the shop. There is in the shot. There is a slight delay, so you have to be aware of that. Anyway, we'll set something else up and we'll get after it. All right, folks, sorry for the little bit of noise. The heater just kicked in. I just want to get this going. So what I decided to do is that now that we've got all the sanding done, there's still some little bit, just touch-ups to do, nothing major. I'm gonna put the door in. I'm not gonna cut a hole. Out of this piece here, we're just gonna cut it down to size. It's probably beginning to be about that big by that big. Look at this. Should have had this ready. So we're looking at about, for the height of this, yeah, I think 3 inches is good. Yeah, 3 to 6 looks fine. That'll work. 3 to 6, 6, 6, so we want about a 2-inch wide door. Vertical line there. 2 inches. Oops, broke. Just there. comes the interesting bit. This is all tapered to match that a little bit, so it's not, certainly not vertical. Well, it's close. It's not quite vertical. When I go off of here, you see that? It won't be straight. It's got to be more like that, 90 degrees. So we're looking at the door. This is just a crude representation of where the door is going to be. Something like that. The lines aren't quite straight, but that's okay for now. We'll get that all nice and level. I'll actually use a level to put the door on. So we're going to cut it out of this right now on the saw. So we'll set that back up and I'll show you that. There's our door. We'll go back over and we'll see what that looks like. Now looking at it like this, it looks too tall. Let's go back over the lighthouse. I changed my mind. It's 3 3/4 by 2, and that looks about right. What do you think? I think so. We're going to build. This will stand proud. Of course, I'll put a frame around there. Then there's a. The first step's a little tiny platform, and then it goes down from there. Actually, we might have to put that a little lower. Well, it's okay. I can put it anywhere to make it match. But we'll build the stairs. I'll build the frame for this first, so it looks nice. I'll build the stairs, the frame for the stairs, then we'll build the rungs. Then we'll keep going. So what I've decided on is for the edge pieces. I forget what they're called. The runners, I guess, maybe. For the sides of the stairs and then the middle support, I'm going to make them 3/4. We'll try 3/4 of an inch. I'll make 3 of them. And then, well, of course, we got to cut in the. I don't even know what they're called. The cuts to add the rungs. Here we go. You hit the power switch. So there we go. They're the 3 end pieces. The 3 pieces that'll go up. Of course, they'll have cut into them the spaces for that. But what I did was, just in case, for whatever reason, that looks a little too skinny, I made another 2 at 1 inch. And if I have to, I can put those down, those on the edge like that, and then the center one for support. So oh, pardon me. Let's go figure out exactly how how I cut those in. Pardon me. How I cut those in there. Okay, so what I've done, I've cut the 2 end pieces for the stairs. I started to figure out how to do the actual steps themselves. If you can see this, they sit like that, and then there is there it is. There's like a very small platform. Now, if you can see this, I cut this to fit to the shack. It's got to be out like that. So there's 1/2 inch. So what I did, I cut these little guys into 1/2 inch, and we'll just make sure all the angles are correct, because these are 42 degrees on one side and 30 on the other. So there we go there. Let's just double check. Yeah, see, it's lower, so it goes there. Okay, so quickly mark those. Goes on that end, it goes on that end. So these little guys, go on the end here. Clean up some excess, do that. So this little guy gets glued on there like that. There's almost no way to clamp that. Try and get rid of some of the excess glue so you can see. So just little bump outs, little extensions, bump outs. Hold that like that. Same with the other one. too much on there, that's all right. That. Make sure they're all the way up. Make sure it stays on. There we are. So on there. Okay, there we go. What we're going to do before we go too much further, we're just going to wait 10-20 minutes, let those set up just a little bit before we continue, and then we'll figure out how we're making the cutouts for the stairs. Okay, this should be entertaining. What I've done, I've made some supports for the stairs. So we're going to put one there. We're going to put another one there. Somehow like that. I'll actually get back here into the back corner. So let's see how well this works. The issue with working with this small stuff, I don't have anything small enough to hold it. Oh, see? I should have waited. Should have waited. Funny thing is, how in the world do you clamp that, or do you? Actually, put it like that. I made some extras for support. Like that. This one here gets glue. Too much. And this one here gets too much glue. No. Do that for now. Well, look at that. Oh. Put that back there. For you. Put glue on you. Go there like that. Yoza. Should hot glue these, but hot glue is such a pain to work with after the fact. Oh, what happened to my glue? We'll mess with this for a little while longer, and if it doesn't want to work, we'll use hot glue. 'Cause that stuff sets up in a moment. Always helps having more glue on your fingers than you, and it's more sticky. Oh man. Okay. All right. Wipe those off. Hot glue it is. All right. What I decided to do was not to cut out the bird's, whatever the bird's beak, whatever. I decided not to cut them out. I decided just to inlay them. They're 2 inches wide, which is this is, and it's going to be an inch. Each step will be an 1.25 inches, which this is set up to be. If the glue doesn't work, I'm just going to use hot glue and then shave off the rest. So here we go. It goes down for safety. Okay, I'll move the camera over and I'll show you what we're going to do. All right. So here's the uprights there. So what I'm going to do is figure out that angle there, right? So we'll just line the bottom up, because that'll be level. Let's see there. Just like that. Perfect. And then where the top reaches, so that ends up to be, as you can see that's 15. So all we'll do is move down to this point here. Put that on the 15. All right. Down here. Oh, this is gonna be difficult. Oh, what am I doing? Put that on the 15. Like that. Now, look at that. That's the right width. So now all we have to do is we'll line that up with that. Next one, line that up with that. Oh, it's too big, isn't it? It's just too big. How much? What's the distance? It's 1 inch. Distance that way. 3/4 of an inch. Cut this down quickly to 3/4 of an inch, and then we'll put the other lines in. Just off camera for a second. Smaller than 3/4 of an inch. So take a little bit more. That's better. See that it lines up nicely. Now we just gotta line it up properly with the lower one, hold it on there nice, sturdy. See, look how far that line went off. That. That goes like that. Here we go, there's our lines. Just transpose them here. This one, and then we'll do the same thing. Oh, I don't even need that, do I? What am I doing? So let's do this. Oh, I did that backwards, didn't I? Or did I? Guess it doesn't matter. So they will get glued like that, right? Proud. We're gonna hot glue these guys in. There we are. A little dab smeared on so it's even. Line up with the front. Line up with a line, hold it there for a second. Squish it down good, done. Little dab. Got to remember not to swish hot glue around with your fingers. Fingers don't like it very much, and you've got to be fairly precise the first time. Now, I'm forgetting which line is which here. Peak to peak, inch. Peak to peak, inch, the lower one. And the worst part about the hot glue is those little strings. There we are. Push that down solidly. Here we are. Last one. Bit of a goopy mess, but once that solidifies, we can go back later on and fix that up. You see little strings? I don't know if that shows up on camera, but there's our stairs. Right on now, this one we got to make sure we get it on there nicely. So being, you see the stairs, they're not completely straight, so we got to make sure they're straight. So what I might do, I might just make some spacers to put in there to make sure they're straight, and then I think this side will end up actually gluing. But as you can see, there's the stairs. It's not too bad. That'll work. And it goes on like that. Slide right between those lines. So that's what we'll do. I'll shut the camera off, and then we'll go ahead and I'll make some spacers on to fit in there nicely, and then I'll make one on each side that won't be permanent, and we'll just make sure everything's straight up. So there we go. There's the rungs and the center bit. What I had to do, I put little spacers in there. Got this guy here to go on like that. Now all I have to do now, a little dab of glue, line up the front faces with the marks I've got there. And we should be golden. Oh my god, I got hot glue everywhere. Hot glue everywhere. It's going to be very delicate with this thing because it's not very sturdy. Come on, Mr. Glue. There we go. Goop that on there. Here we are. We've got a few seconds. Line that up. Line that up. Press down. At least with the hot glue, you can. If you don't like it, you can always take it apart. It will pop. In this application here, once it's glued to the base and it's glued to the shack, it will be it'll be fine. Take our spacers out. Take our spacers out. What we'll do here is just squeeze this one here together just a little bit more. There we go. As good as that's going to get. Okay, there we go. There's our stairs. Hey, look at that. It actually works nicely. There's a half-inch platform goes on top like that. We will. Let's get rid of some mess here. How about that? Get rid of that glue gun. If it gets spilled on here, I just let it dry up, and then it'll. It's very, very easy to shave. Put that on there like that. Make sure it's flush to the top. It's off just a little bit. That's all right. I can adjust that once I get the base in. And of course, all the little holes and marks in there, we'll fill that in. And there's the platform. There's our stairs. Looking at the stairs. They look cool. They got to be redone because the step to the top isn't good enough. There should be one more step right there. Show you what I'm doing here. There should be another step right there. Keep carrying this away. There should be another one there. That goes on there like that. Tell you what I'm going to do. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shave that. I'm going to put that step in, shave that down, and make the door match it. That's what we'll do. So we'll glue this up, and then I'll put the spacers in. And I'll put the spacers in. I tend to talk too low. Got that fan going in the background there. Sorry about that. Let's see. It goes in there like that. Line it up with that line. Push it back a bit. I'll have to shave this down on the saw. Yeah, that goes there, that goes there. So move that down a bit. Clamp it. There we go. Now I just happen to have a clamp here. Oh, it's too far forward on that side. We'll see how this goes. There we go. So what I'm going to do, you see those little nubbins that stick up there, and if you notice on the back, it stands proud too. We'll either sand. Oh, that's way off. We'll either sand that down on the belt sander, or what we'll do is we'll cut it down with the table saw. I should have done that to start with, shouldn't I? Silly me. Good thing I didn't hot glue it. Here we are. Spacers in there proper. I keep pulling this away from the camera, sorry. There we are. So that'll be the stairs. Like I said, under here, I'm gonna put, since I've got to cut a hole in the bottom of it for the electrics, I'll make a bump out here or this way. Probably, well, I need the support from here, don't I? So when I put this on, a piece will come out here like this, and then we'll fill that in. And we'll make the stairs look nice and pretty. Of course, once they're painted, everything seems to look a little better. And then we'll make a platform. Yeah, you know what? I think that's it for today. It's a quick recap. Of course, we sanded down all the windows. We got all the glup out of the center of them. We sanded the whole column down. We put the extra piece on the shed. We built the stairs. So I think that's enough for today. We got to really start thinking about the lighthouse, or pardon me, the actual light structure that the light sits in. Like I said earlier, the rotating beacon shows up hopefully Friday by FedEx. It'll come right to my office. So that'll be fantastic. I'll get it there, and then on the weekend we'll start building the actual structure itself. We'll get the light in. We'll get it set at the right height. We'll get the wires in. We'll cut the bottom out. We'll cut the bottom out. We'll install the electrical cover hatch in the shack, and then hopefully by that time, if we can get all that done and filled in and sanded down in a day. I don't think so. I think it's going to take a little longer than that. we'll be ready for paint. I just checked my paint supply, lots of red. I might have to buy a little bit more white. And that's then we'll be done. So hopefully 2 more weekends, 2 more full days, and this should be done. Maybe 3 days. You never know. Things happen. You always end up finding little defects that you like to correct before the customer gets it. So that's it from Dave Does. Please like, subscribe, and ring the little bell, and you'll be notified every time a video is uploaded. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.